Good morning and welcome to this. Well, it's not morning anymore. Actually, it is 15 minutes before 2 p.m. I had to like I had to watch 3 times in order to get it right. In this video, I am going to talk about increasing your confidence as a parent because I have been struggling with this a lot lately, and I don't think I'm the only person, caretaker, parent, caregiver that is struggling with this. And I'm solely going to talk about my experience and what works for me. Um, and that might, help some people out there. Um, this video is going to exist in two parts. Anyway, there's going to be two parts. One part is child related and one part is socially related, because I do think that there are more factors in your confidence as a parent. At least that's how it works for me. Child related confidence boost part 1. Also, I have my notes right here because if I don't use notes, I'll just forget what I was talking about. I tried filming this video once before and I forgot what I was talking about, and so here I am filming it again, but whatever. The first point is play together. And I really, really lost my confidence in playing together with my son because my belly is getting really big right now. I don't know if you can see it. It's, it doesn't look that big on camera, but when I, stand up, walk around, do stuff, it's in the way. I cannot play fight with him. I cannot run around. I and I cannot walk for like long periods of time. So my confidence in play really started declining because that was the the biggest part of playing that we were doing was playing a fight and stuff like that, running around, going to the playground, just really using up that energy. And since I couldn't do that anymore, we all also did puzzles and stuff like that, but that was like this portion of everything. I tried changing that up in two ways. I tried doing more puzzles, drawing, um, being creative in general, making music, playing music, dancing on music, just a lot of music, and also going outside, but more in a casual way, I guess. So doing groceries, going to the mall, uh, getting a snack or something. In the Netherlands, we have something called poffertjes, and Salem really likes poffertjes. So once in a while, we go out and eat poffertjes, which really works for us because he gets his fresh air. He likes eating poffertjes, so it works well. Um, Another thing, like another way that I increased my confidence in play is by letting Salem lead the way. So, for example, especially when he does pretend play, because he's 2.5 years old now, and he does a lot of pretend play. He sings a lot. He, makes up his own words and stuff. I let him make my coffee. I let him bake a cake for me. I let him, do stuff where he can lead the way, where I can, ask for, hey, can I get some sugar in my coffee? And he's like, yeah, sure. Or no, no sugar because that's bad for you. I don't know. I'm just saying something. Um, but when a child feels in control, especially when he can boss you around a little bit, that really helps, settle into that in a more peaceful overall feel. And I found that really works for us. So, point 2, be consistent. Well, I have a really hard time being consistent, and I always had a hard time being consistent for myself, but that wasn't really a problem because I could get through my day and I would just still do stuff and it would still work out. But when you have a child, consistency is key, and I kid you not, we keep falling in and out of consistency all the time. So that we have a routine and it works for us, but I need to, keep holding on to that routine. That's what I'm working on super hard right now. And the thing that, occurs to me, the thing that I see is that when there is a routine, when there is structure, a kid knows what is going to come. Things are going to be predictable, And just like us, kids like predictability. They like knowing what's going to be next because they can prepare themselves mentally and physically to, get into that next stage. The way that I do this, or what works for me, is setting alarms. For example, your kid is playing, he's really into his playing stuff. Um, and you need to, for example, he needs to shower or dinner is ready or whatever. The thing that I do is I set a alarm, or like he is the one that clicks on the alarm, like starts it, and then I say, hey, 1 minute left. You have 1 minute, more longer to play with this stuff. When the alarm goes off, you are going to clean everything up, and we're going to eat, or and we're going to take a shower, or and we're going to go outside, whatever it is that you have to do. That way they can mentally prepare themselves to get to that next stage of what they have to do. Third part or not third part, like third point that I'm really like that I really stand by is be decisive, because when you're not decisive, especially when you have small children, they're really figuring out what life is actually. Aren't we all like aren't we all actually? But especially small kids, because they don't have this, frame. Don't have these experiences already that we have. So they're really exploring and, trying out your boundaries to see what works, how far they can go, how things, they're figuring it out. And that doesn't mean that are, evil or something. And sometimes it might feel like that because my child can really, really, when he wants something, he's going to get it. But well, when you are like a decisive, for example, no cookie, don't give in, because if you're going to give in once, he's going to try again, because he knows, when I keep doing this, when I keep whining, you know, when I keep this going, I'm going to get it anyway, and that's not what you want to have. And even if you have been doing this for a while or for a very long time, you can still implement this in, in your life, in your child's life, and that's going to be rough. The change is going to be rough, because the first thing that your child is going to do is get into that tantrum, and they're going to go as far as it takes to, get what they want. But it is up to you to stay consistent and decisive, because at some point they're not going to do it anymore, and that might take a week, it might take a month, it might even take longer than that. But when you're at that point where when you stay consistent and, calm, kind, collected, I mean, the child is going to change their perspective as well, and they're going to know, okay, mom or dad or grandma or this cousin, whatever, whoever you are, is serious about this stuff, and I can't do this anymore because it's not working. It's just a waste of my energy. I find that works for me, and I know a lot of people, and I've read a lot of stories, and there's also this page that I'm following on Instagram. It's Big Little Feelings. They talk about this as well. It really works. You just have to put in that extra, what's called effort. Like it takes a little effort, but once you have that, it works. Next step. My brain, my pregnancy, just forget that I said that. Next point, do your research. I have always been a person that likes doing their research. I ask a lot of questions. I want to know a lot of stuff. I want to know how things works. I want to know why they work like that. I want to know what the steps are. I want to know different perspectives. That's me personally. But for example, let me give you a personal example. My child, when he's sick, he just doesn't sleep that well. He doesn't eat that well. I think a lot of children do that when they're sick, but well, I think especially because I have a hard time, sticking to a routine, sticking to structure. We fall out of the structure, the routine, every time my child gets sick because he doesn't sleep, he doesn't eat, and it takes a while to get back into that routine. And the first thing that I wanted to tackle was his sleep, because he started instead of waking up between 7 and 8 a.m. He started waking up 10 to 11 a.m. and he didn't like want to have his naps anymore, and he was sleeping around 11:30, and I was just exhausted. I was zoned out. I was clocked out at that point. So I wanted to really change that up. The first thing that I did was, my friend Google. I Googled a lot of stuff. Um, but there's a lot of information out there about sleep and getting back into sleep and stuff like that. So I also, whew, I'm kind of out of breath. I also bought a book. It's called Slaap. It's a Dutch book. I don't know if they have it in English, but I will link it down below, um, for my Dutch people, Dutchies. If you're struggling with this, I would definitely check that out. She's a sleeping coach, like the first certified sleeping coach in the Netherlands, I guess, if I'm not wrong. And I haven't started reading it yet, but I skimmed through it, and it's for the ages 1 till 4, and there's just so much information in there for a lot of common but also uncommon problems that happen between the ages 1 to 4. And I am really, really excited to start reading that book, and that's one of the ways you can do your research. You can use Google, you can use books, but you can also talk to people, call your doctor, ask for advice. In the Netherlands, you have something like um, het CJG, Centrum voor Jeugd en Gezin, where you can, call them for when you have questions and stuff like that. So, and it can be anything about food, about sleep, about concerns, you know. That's also where they do the checkups for the children, and they also, yeah, so they're there to give you that advice, and doing research is a good thing. You don't have to feel any less or like a bad parent or whatever, if you don't know something, because we all go into this parenting not knowing shit, because I know I didn't know shit. I mean, I have been taking care of children my whole life. Like, I had neighbors that really were like sisters. They are like sisters to me. I had them coming over every day. I was busy with them every day. Now they're a little older. They have their own lives, but I was, children. I like children, but having your own children and other children, it's really something else. So I would really encourage you, do your research, but there's something to be cautious about, and that is, don't get overwhelmed, because one subject can have like a lot of information. So that's why I would recommend you to rather buy a book, for example, a book about sleep, or a book about how to communicate with your children. I'm actually reading that book right now. Let me get it. It's this book that I'm reading right now. How to what? How to talk so kids will listen, and listen so kids will talk. It's an amazing book. I have been reading. I think I'm at page 37. But it's a great book on how to communicate with your kids, and so that they will listen, and that they will talk to you, and they give a lot of examples, like real examples that they have in sessions with other parents that struggle with the same thing. They give a lot of different perspectives. And that's on one subject. So you just apply what works for you, or you apply or start trying something that you think will work for you. Um, yeah. So I guess my point is, for me personally, I think it's better to if it's a really specific thing, um, you can search the internet. But like if it's like a broad thing like communication or sleep or food or something, I think it's better to buy a book, or like talk to someone personally that has a little more knowledge about the thing itself. um, because then you can be more specific in what you want to know, what direction you want to go with it, and if it works for you. And if it doesn't, then you can just throw it away and try the next thing. um, yeah, so that's what works for me. My next point is take yourself seriously and do not lose yourself. And I kid you not, I totally lost myself in parenting. When I became a parent, I was so, I don't know, I was so anxious. I was so focused on being a good parent and keeping my kid alive that I totally forgot about myself. Just my everything started declining. Like my mental health went down so bad. My relationships, the relationship with my boyfriend, with my kid's dad, both kids. um, I was just not in a good place. My hygiene went super bad. I did not want to see people. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to do anything. And now that I look back, I wish that I had done something, one thing, even if it was once a week for 1 hour. That was just super totally me time. And I think that would have worked for me, because I do like doing stuff. I have things that I find interesting. And I am doing them now. I am really picking that up right now. My child is now 2.5 years old, and obviously I'm going to have another child, but that's definitely something I'm going to do different this time. Uh, Even though it's just one thing, even though it's just 1 hour a week, take that hour and make it yours, because it will make such a difference. Talking out from my own experience. And two things that I started doing is one of those things is this YouTube channel that's really out of my comfort zone. It's so out of my comfort zone, but I still decided to do it because I wanted to do it, and because I'm doing it for me. And the second thing is making jewelry, because I really like making jewelry. um it's just a creative process for me. I love it so much, just getting to just learning about the materials, and you know uh, just the whole process of finding out what works and what doesn't work, and color play and everything. And um, this is a shameless plug, but I don't really care. I made this yesterday. Like, it's just all different kinds of bracelets, um, that are I made like it's like a set, but you can also wear them just individually. I love it. Like, literally, the color play, the colors, I love it so much. I also have an Instagram for this. I will link it down below. You don't have to check it out. It's just, I'll just put it in there. And if you want to see it, just go click, or like look it up on Instagram. But that's really something. Like, if I'm doing that, that's just me. That does not have to do anything with my boyfriend, with my relationship, with anyone else, not with my children. It's just me. and I can wear them as well. So it feels like, hey, I did this, I did this for myself. I get to wear it, and it also reminds me of that I am my own individual, that I have my own interests. So yeah, that really helps my mental health. And I'm not saying it's going to solve everything, because that's not my point here. Because you can still be very depressed, you can still have mental issues, you can still struggle with a lot of things, but um, it will, that hour or even 10 minutes every other day or whatever, it is going to make a difference. That was a lot of talking. um let's see. My next point is focus on calm communication. Well, I talked about this book. Lately I have really been struggling with calm communication, and I think that's because I am highly pregnant, and I am getting so impatient because I'm out of breath all the time. I'm getting pretty big. My son is demanding a lot of, I don't know, energy from me. And I want to give it to him. He deserves that. He's my child. I love him so, so much. But I also have to take care of myself, and I can't do that all the time, and that frustrates me because I want to do that. I want to do it. I want to play with him. I want to run around with him. I want to go to the playground with him. I want to be able to pick him up. I mean, I pick him up all the time, but that doesn't mean that my back's not hurting. So that frustration of not being able to do that really got me into this. I don't know, I just started, being mad at myself, and I reflected that towards him. I started raising my voice, I started being impatient. The way I'm trying to change that up is, to be conscious about it, but also to read this book, because it's really actually, what I'm trying to work on. And I could have also, skimmed through the internet and do a Google search or something, but I would rather read about it, um, than go off of internet based things, because then I think I would get overwhelmed. It's not, I probably did do that, but it's just a lot of information, so I'd rather read a book, and that's what I'm doing. um Also, yeah, the communication, when you're communicating in a calmer way, your kids will want to listen to you. That's just in a relationship, for example. When you're talking to your parent, and your parent is like, well, not parent, I mean your partner. When you're talking to your partner, and your partner raises his voice, or he interrupts you, or he's like, what you're saying doesn't matter, or whatever it is, you wouldn't want to listen to your partner at all. Like, I wouldn't want to listen to my partner at all. But I became that person because my patience was just gone, and I started raising my voice and stuff. So why would your kid listen to you if you're like that? You know, if you wouldn't do it yourself. That was what I was thinking. So I made a choice to change it up, and focus on communication is one of my priorities as well. Last point in child related is, plan ahead. And like I already said, I am a pretty chaotic person. I can be just so chaotic and like have no structure and stuff like that. The main focus of everything actually is getting into focus, like getting into structure, getting into routine. Like, that's really what I want. And one of the things that really help is planning ahead. And I kid you not, like, I when I plan one or two things a day, that really helps me so much. My kid goes to daycare 3 days a week, and the other days I have him because my parents are working, my boyfriend is working, so I'm just with him whenever nobody else is here. So I have to, do the things with him, even though I'm highly pregnant. So um, I started planning my activities one night before. I do it evening planning, every night. Well, that's the planning, but I plan on doing an evening planning every evening before I go to sleep, so that I'm prepared for the next day. And one of those things is planning, or like not really planning, but just thinking about writing down what I would make for breakfast, what I would make for lunch, what we're going to do if we're going to go outside. So if we're going to outside, what is he going to wear? Because you have to get those clothes ready for the next day, and so that you don't have that to do that the next morning. Stuff like that. You really need to plan ahead if you want to get that confidence and that structure back. So yeah, I really struggle with this because at the end of the day, I'm just so clocked out that I just go to bed. I don't even change my clothes, and I know this sounds nasty, but that's just what it is. That's just real life. But when I do it, when I actually plan plan my morning or my day the day before, it gives me such a ease of mind in the morning. Um, but I think I'm going to do a whole video on how I do a Sunday prep. That's how I prep for the whole week, and then I do a evening prep every evening to have it a little more structured. I'm going to do a video about that really soon. So definitely stay tuned for that if you're trying to find structure in your life. If you have kids, or even if you don't have kids, structure is a really important thing, and it does not have to be a lot of things. You can make it as minimal as you want, and I want to have it minimal for myself, doable, and from there I can also always see what I can add or what I can skip, what doesn't work, what works. It's a process, You have to find out what works for you. So yeah, that was child related. We're now going to go to socially related, and these are some heavy things. But we're just going to get into it because I know I am not the only one struggling with this. It just cannot be that I am the only one struggling with this. So I want to talk about it. I want to create a space where we can talk about this. So here I go. The first point is, by the way, what is this? What is this? I already had this like in my last video. This one is not even done, and this one is just, I don't know. I don't even have stuff to remove it, but whatever. The first point is expose yourself to your fears and try new things. I was the worst at doing this, especially when I was a new mom. Oh god, I still feel like I'm a new mom, even though I've been a mom for 2.5 years. But exposing yourself to your fears and trying new things is such an important thing, because that way you can stay open-minded and try new things for your child, especially when they get older. You want to try different things, because what works for you does not necessarily work for your child. um, you have to kind of, the focus should be on your child. And in the beginning, to give you an example, the thing that I did was, okay, so for example, was when Salem was just born, um, we used water wipes, and to be frank, we did not have the budget to use water wipes, because water wipes are like €4 per pack, like per one pack. And I was so set and so, so I just wanted to use water wipes because 99% of water and stuff like that. But the thing is, there is also other wipes that you can use for babies that are good, that are not €4 per pack. And I did not want to let go of that water wipe thing. I was so stubborn. I was just blaming my boyfriend for not respecting me in that way and stuff like that. When I look back, I'm like, holy moly, what was wrong with you? But in that moment, when I was in my feelings, when I had all those hormones, it was so hard to get out of that. um, And now when I look back, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. We're getting those other wipes. And if they don't work for for this new kid, if she gets rashes or whatever, I obviously I'm not going to buy stuff that has, stuff in them that's not good for your child, or that like are harmful or chemicals. But that doesn't mean that you have to get the most expensive thing, because the most expensive thing is not always the best thing, yeah. So expose yourselves to your fears is also, for me, it's you don't always know best. And I know this sounds very contradicting because I am my child's parent, but my boyfriend is also my child's parent, and he also, wants best for my children. And it is possible for him to have a suggestion or a thought or like this idea that might even be better than mine. And for me, it was very hard to accept that, to be open minded to that. And to be honest, it is still very hard for me to, to let that go, to let go of that control, especially because I am with the kid, like with Salem most of the time, because my boyfriend is working a lot. Well, not, yeah, he's working like 4 days a week for now, because of COVID, and the restaurants are closing and opening again and stuff. So it's chaotic. Even though you want to hold on to that structure, it can be chaotic in times like these. So I am the one who's spending the most time with Salem when my boyfriend is not here. So letting go of that control is really hard for me, because I'm like, you're not gonna tell me how I am going to do this stuff, because you're here for like 4 days max, and then you're going to tell me how to do this thing. Because when he's here, obviously we're together, so I'm still in the picture. And then my boyfriend is, also here. But when my boyfriend's not here, it's just me. Um, so, but I need to give my boyfriend that credit. He's doing, a lot. He sometimes he knows better, and it's hard for me to accept that. And I think this is a common thing for moms, or like a more common thing that I would like to admit. But it is okay to let go of that. And I'm just talking to myself because I find it really hard. But it is okay to let go of that sometimes, and to give that control out of hands, especially to your partner, especially to the co-parent, or the other person that's taking care of the kid. Whew, that was a mouthful. um, Next point is ask questions and open up about your parenting struggles. I don't really have a problem asking questions and opening up about my parenting struggles, because I do believe that every parent, any and every parent, has their own struggles with parenting, and that can be anything. That can be anything. But if you have to carry that burden alone, um, it can be so draining. It can be so exhausting. It can really take a toll on your mental health. And I just want to encourage you that if you have a problem, if you have an issue, if there's something you're bumping into again and again, if there's something you're not able to fix or get out of, or it's really, bringing you down, you're losing sleep over it, whatever it is, talk about it. Talk about it. And if you don't have anyone to talk about it, comment it down, in the just not in the description box, but like in the comments, because I want to talk to you. I know I don't have like that big of a following, but I want to create that space for parents, for anyone actually. If you're struggling with something, just, I know it's so much easier said than done, because I don't like talking about other struggles, but talking about my parenting struggles is something that I don't really have an issue with, because I do think we need to help each other, and it takes a village to raise children, and we can help each other, and we should help each other actually. So yeah, my comment section is open for if you want to talk, or if you have questions, or if you have suggestions, or if if you want me to make a video about whatever it is that you would like to be, or like that you're interested in. um because that's so important. And it doesn't matter if you're old or if you're young. I'm 25 this year, and I feel like I'm still a kid sometimes. Not because I'm not an adult, but it feels like time is going by so fast. Like it feel I was so grossed out when people used to say, "Oh shit, being 18 felt like yesterday." And now that I'm almost 25 and I look back, I feel like 18 was just yesterday. Like I am one of those people, man. And yeah, so even though I was like, when you get older, you know a lot of stuff, and obviously you experience more, and you know you learn stuff, but that doesn't mean that when you're 25 or 30 or whatever age it is, that you can't be struggling with something. I don't believe there's an age limit to stuff. And I know I'm going really off topic right now, but I really want to say this because a friend of mine also sent me, or like tagged me into something on Facebook, where someone was like, yeah, anyone with anyone at the age of 25 that doesn't have their driving license, just throw yourself away. And I was like, girl, what? It was a man, like it was a boy. But I was like, I don't have a okay. So in the Netherlands, you have basisschool, then you have middelbare school, and then you have I think something you can something like college, and then you have university. But it's up to you if you go further than you know like, yeah, college is like MBO, and then you have HBO, and then you have university. So it's up to you if you want to study further. And I just have my VMBO TL diploma, for example, and I tried studying after that, but my mental health wasn't really letting me, So the point that I'm making is, it's not, it is not age related. If you don't have your degree at the age of 25, you're not doomed. You're not doomed. You can do that anytime. My midwife with my first, or not my midwife, but like after you gave birth and they come to your place to check you up and stuff. She was so nice. She talked to me. She said, I chose to have 7 children. She chose to have 7 children, like, and raise them and stuff to some point, and then to start her studying and her career. Like she tried a lot of stuff. She did a cooking study. She did what she was doing there. She did, I don't remember really, but she did a lot of stuff, and she chose to have children first with her husband, and then to do that stuff for herself. I'm not saying that's the way, but it is possible. It is possible. And people hold on to this societal norm, I guess, but that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. You don't have to be 18 and have your driver's license. You don't have to be 19 and have your degree. You know? You don't have to be 25 and be married. You don't have to have children at all if you don't want to. You still have a family if it's just you and your dog, or if it's just you and your partner, whatever, or if it's just you're good enough by yourself. So I really went on a rant here, but I guess what I'm saying is just you know open up yourself. It is okay to talk about it, and you're not any less if you don't have those things. And that was way besides the point, but I had to talk about that for a little bit. Next point is try letting go of social pressure. Your decision is final. and set undebatable boundaries. Yes, I put it all in one point because letting go of social pressure is something that I really, really am dealing with right now because my son is someone he likes talking a lot. He likes talking a lot. I think he has that for me because I like talking a lot as well when I'm in my comfort zone, when I'm with people that I like, that that know that I talk a lot and stuff. But he likes talking about where he is, what he sees, what he's going to do, stuff like that. And people, they either like it or they're like, can you make your kid shut up? Especially in the morning. And sometimes I get it, it's morning and stuff like that. But people are rude. They are so rude. We have trams here where I live. I'm from the Netherlands, if you didn't know that yet. But when you like wait on a station, you have like a lot of people there, obviously because they're all waiting for the tram. But so to give you one example, there was this lady. She was pretty old. I think she was Turkish. Not that that has anything to do with this, but like to paint the picture. We were standing there, and Salem, he was just talking about what he was seeing, and that was going to go with the tram, and how happy he was that he was going to daycare because he likes daycare a lot. And there was this lady, and she was just walking, past us. And she wasn't even looking at us. She was not looking at me. She was not looking at Salem. She was just walking there. And at some point, she said, in Dutch, she said, "Shh, stil, jongen." Literally in that tone. And stil, jongen means quiet boy, literally quiet boy. And my son looked up to me, and I looked down at him, and he was like, "Mama, wel praten," which means, "Mom, I can't talk, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can talk. Just talk, You don't have to let those people be, be yourself. It's okay to talk. I really like it when you talk, and if you want to talk, you should talk. When it's appropriate, you just talk. And he was like, he was happy. He was going on with whatever he was doing. But it's just crazy out there. Also, another example, I let my son walk without holding his hand whenever it's safe. Okay? I had so much people bashing me because I posted something about this in a Facebook group with like 95K people or something, and I was like, I explained the situation. I was like, this and this happened, so what would you do? And the situation was, there was like these tram rails, but there was literally nothing coming. Nothing was coming. There was like this, you have just where you can walk and stuff. And I think my son was walking like 2 meters in front of me or something. And there was this old lady again, and she was like, "Hold your kid!" But like she was so angry about it, and I I don't, yeah, I was already pregnant. I was like 24 weeks pregnant or something. And I was like, "Lady, can you not scream at me? Can you not interfere here? Because I know what I'm doing. I know my kid is one of those kids that like when the stop sign becomes red, he's like, "Stop! Don't walk! Mom, you should stop walking. You should stop walking, lady. You should stop walking, sir." Like, and whenever someone is walking through that red light, he's like, "Oh, you cannot do that. That's not that you can't do that. You have to wait until it's green." Like, that's my kid. And I know my kid, and obviously when when there are a lot of people, when there's a lot of traffic, I'm not going to let my kid walk 2 meters in front of me. And people started bashing me. Woo! It was crazy. It was just so crazy. But my point is, I asked a question. My question was, what would you do if or if someone started screaming at you, when something like that happens? Like, what would you do? And the only focus that people had was that I was letting my 2-year-old kid walking 2 meters in front of me, and they started bashing me about that, and it made me feel so bad. There were a couple of people that were like, you know your kid best and stuff like that, and or they said, hey, I did the exact same thing, and my kids are older now, and they actually know the rules, and they're safe and stuff, because kids are smart, but I could have it could have broken me down. And to be honest, I was almost at a point where I was like, whoa, I'm such a bad parent, I'm probably not doing this right. um, but then I got myself out of that, you know out of it, and I started thinking about, I know my kid the best. I'm the parent, obviously, with my partner, and it's not up to them to, like, their opinions don't matter. I think I said that before. Their opinions don't matter. It's an advice. You can take it or you can leave it, and it is really hard when people start bashing you. Like, people commented things like, were you too busy with your phone or something, or stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, you don't even know me. And there was someone that commented stuff like, yo, I don't know what kind of feeling you have, but you definitely don't have a mother feeling. And I was like, what the heck? What the heck? That's just cruel. That's really cruel. And I don't know. I don't think I cried about it, but that can really, break you down, reading stuff like that. And luckily, I had a friend and I talked to her about it and stuff. And she's like, you know your kid best, just let it go. And it was a toxic Facebook group anyway, but that's besides the point. So yeah, your decision your decision is final. Also, I'm going to give you another example, but this is also this is let me just say it and then you'll understand what I mean. I don't agree with this. Okay, for example, you have parents that are vegan, that are that want their child to grow up vegan, and I don't agree with that. But you have parents that make that choice for their children, and their decision is final. Um, I can't talk to those parents. I can, I can talk to them. I can ask them questions. Why, you know, um, isn't it better for them to have like a whole, you know, everything that I need? Um, but it is never up to me to give that child meat, for example. That's just what it is. And then the last, part of this point is set undebatable boundaries. I'm going to give you an example here, which is very, very personal to me, but I think it's a very good example. So I'm a Christian. If you don't know that yet, if you haven't watched my previous video, um, I'm a Christian, and my parents are Hindu, and they have like these customs and stuff, with bathing in like this blue powder and shaving your hair at 3 months and stuff like that. And I just didn't want to do it with my son. I was very clear about that from the beginning, from the moment that I got pregnant. And yeah, my parents didn't really like respect that boundary. Let's just say it like that, because well, they didn't shave his head, but they still showered him with the blue powder, and the way I found out was by seeing that blue powder in the bath. So that wasn't really calculated that well, but the point is, you know, my decision here is final, and I set boundaries from the beginning, and they crossed that boundary, So I talked to them. I was like, I told you already, I'm raising my children Christian, and it's not up to you to make that decision to bathe them in whatever, or to do anything that it goes against what I want for my children, especially with stuff like this. um, and after that, they didn't do it again. But it is up to you as a parent to set those boundaries and to hold those boundaries. I guess that was what I was saying. The last and the most important point. Oh no, it's not the most important point. My most important point is yet to come. But the last point in socially related is remember that the only person that you have to prove yourself to as a parent, as a caretaker, is your child. And sometimes it's kind of still really hard for me to comprehend, I guess. Is that the right word? Because you want to, I don't know, you want to be a good parent, but everybody has a lot of things to say, and a lot of opinions, and a lot of, they bring it in a rude way, like I said before. Um, but the focus in parenting should be your child and what works for you and your child, and not what someone else thinks would work for you and your child, or not something that worked for someone else that might not work for you and your child. Um, and you don't have to hold on to those standards of those other people that think they know you or know your child better than you do. You don't. You just don't. So yeah, that was my last point, and that's one of the most important things, I guess. That's the whole focus of parenting should be your child or your children in general. If you have more children, um, yeah. And then wanted to say something more. Like I told you, I'm a Christian, so I want to say, if if you are struggling with this, excuse me, if you're struggling with this, try putting God first. And sometimes I still struggle with this. I still struggle praying on stuff, that I'm struggling with, and asking God for asking God for guidance and thanking Him for the actual, guidance that He's giving me and stuff like that, for opening my eyes, um, and living in a relationship with Him. But for me, that is so important, to put God first in your parenting. Um, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. That's really important for me, and that's the thing that I am also working on a lot. For example, before going to bed, um, Salem and I, we sing a song. We always sing a song. Um, I talked about it in my previous video, that he has a new favorite song, which is "I'm Yours" from Jason Mraz. He sings it from beginning to end. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. After that, I say, hey, grandma, grandpa, other grandpa, mommy, daddy, we all love you so much. We had a great day. We talk a little bit about our day, or his day. And after that, we pray. So I'm like, do you want to pray? And he's like, he nods his head. And then I'm like, okay, are you going to do it with me? And then he's like, yes. Okay, so then I say, lieve God. We start with lieve God because he's a kid, so we say lieve God, and he's like lieve God, and then and oh yeah, I said and dan, that's Dutch, but then I say, I just say I thank God for the things that we did that day, for the things that we have, that we live in relationship with Him, that we you know are living this life on this earth, that He loves us unconditionally. Um, and I want my child to know that. But I'm also not going to be that person that is, for example, if my child makes the choice not to believe in Jesus. Yeah, when he's at the age where he can like do his own research and think for himself, well, he can think for himself, but stuff like that is not this. I am struggling. A lot of people are struggling with their faith, so I think it's my responsibility to introduce him to Jesus, to let him, to tell him the stories and everything. And but I would never pressure my kid into doing it, into believing, because I do think that's a choice that you need to make on your own. That's your own decision. And I would never disown my child for deciding not to follow Jesus, or for example, for him to for example, if he's gay or something, I would never disown my child for something like that. um, I just wouldn't, you know. um, and that's something I'm struggling with kind of right now as well, because I don't know, because I didn't grow up as a Christian, you know, and I'm like, so isn't this indoctrination? That's the thing that I'm really struggling with as a Christian parent, um, because you know I want to read a word and stuff like that, and I want to teach him the word, but at the same time, you know, isn't that indoctrination? I don't know. That's another struggle that I have. Um, that I think that's not really talked about enough. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up this video here because I'm already talking for more than 40 minutes. Like this video, I'm going to try to edit it down a little bit. I talk way too much. But yeah, it's a lot of information. I didn't think I was going to talk so long, but I hope if you're still here, you know, you're a trooper. I I am going to try to find a way to make my videos a little shorter, especially the talking videos. Um, but my videos just might be long all the time because I talk so much, and that's just me, you know. It's my channel, so whatever. Yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe to this channel. I'm kind of out of breath. I'm kind of um and yeah, I am going to make that video about structure and planning, like my Sunday prep and the evening prep. That's one video that's going to come up. And I think I'm going to do a day in the life very soon again, because I want to introduce my son. He's just such a, I love him so much. But yeah, anyway, see you in my next video. Bye.